My vote's for you. You tried to tell everyone that I was the problem. That's not true. We all know that you're the problem. So tonight, I'm casting my vote to get you off the island and onto the ban list. Good riddance.
It's been a long time, and I'm not a big fan of this, but when summoned properly, your name becomes Red Eyes Black Dragon. We can't have that anymore, so this is why tonight I'm going for you.
So we had a good alliance, but instead, you decided that you were gonna find 2 new friends, and then you betrayed me. So for that, I'm gonna betray you. I am voting you out tonight.
For a long time, I was really convinced you were the problem. But it turns out we have a traitor in our midst. It's you. So for that reason, our alliance is broken, and you have to go.
I know it's been a long format, and you've all grown very close, but the tally is in, and the votes are final. Predaplant Verte Anaconda, your tribe has spoken. Ooh, that was a close one! Ooh, that was really bad! Survivor!
What's up, everybody? This is Brian.
And I am Logan, and the alpacas are currently trying to build a raft off the island of Duelist Kingdom. And we're Crush Cards! Hi, team! Happy Wednesday, my super survivors of the ban list.
Woo!
This isn't our ban list prediction video. That's a separate series called Breakfast and Ban List, which will be coming out tomorrow. So if you want to see our actual solid list of predictions / wish list, come back tomorrow because that's where it'll be. Today we're talking about 3 very particular cards that everyone won't shut up about because, well, they're really irritating. And so we're going to give our 2 cents today, and you can tell us if we're wrong.
When it comes to the ban list, we don't typically do like individual takes on different things. However, this is one of those ban lists and just like one of those specific times where I feel like there's a lot of things we want to address and a lot of thought that we want to put into certain ideas. So we're going to actually do a few ideas talking about what we think could happen on the ban list this season.
Just a little disclaimer before we get into this video. Obviously, Konami hasn't told us anything. We don't know anything. We have no ideas. This is just our 2 cents, and we're probably wrong anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But the cards that we are talking about today that have been a huge point of contention are Red Eyes Fusion, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, and Predaplant Verte Anaconda, the not Predaplant card. A lot of people aren't sure which one of these cards should be hit on the following ban list, if any at all, or if all 3 altogether. Everyone has a different opinion, and honestly, we aren't 100% sure on our opinion either. It's kind of been changing week by week, and it's hard to come to a firm stand on this. So let us know your thoughts in the comments as well, because this is just kind of where we're spitballing at. We want to hear from you guys because you're the rest of the community, and we need to, I don't know, band together to get rid of this card, or ban it.
Band together. But before we get into this video and this discussion, if you guys are not already a subscriber, feel free to go down, hit that subscribe button, throw this video a like,
and put in the comment section down below which one of these 3 cards you think should be voted off the island on this week's episode of Survivor. Ooh, we also have an Instagram. It's at CrushCardsYGO. We're on there all the time if you want to come give us a follow and interact with us a little bit more. We also have a super wholesome Discord community. It's absolutely poppin'. I am on there all the time, and it's a great place to come make new Yu-Gi-Oh friends. And then last but not least, if you want to further support the channel, we have a Patreon. You can get it on all the side decks, all the bloopers, all the amazing rewards. Feel free to check it out. I'm a totally unbiased opinion, but if not, that's okay. We're just happy you're here. Let's talk about these toxic cards and which one needs to go and get voted off the island. Ooh.
Speaking of voted off the island, the $1 million question, as Logan said, is which one of these cards is actually the problem card and or which one really needs to go. So let's kind of start at the top and work down. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, topic number 1.
Yeah, Dragoon is in fact the problem card because obviously he is the boss monster that was released in the Megatins of last year that, you know, really caused an entire shift in how the game is played. He was an easy card to get out because we also got Verte, which, you know, made it a lot more accessible to play. However, Dragoon himself is a walking burn card, an Omni negate. You can't target it, you can't destroy it. He gets big as hell. You just can't do anything about it. And it was
crazy.
really
It's
hard.
a good card.
Yeah, it was really hard for the player base to get around this card because the OCG actually ended up banning it. And so we were like, how are we supposed to play around it? It's awful.
So our thoughts on this card, though, there's 3 reasons we actually don't think that this card is specifically going to get banned, at least on this upcoming ban list. Number 1, being really honest here, it's a legacy card. This card is a Dark Magician card. It's like a Red Eyes card. Not saying that, like, you know, that kind of like makes it immune to the ban list, but it's safe to say that Konami kind of wants to make a little bit more money off of it, which leads us to number 2. They haven't reprinted this card yet. This is like, once again, a huge staple card in a lot of decks, or like it has the potential to be in a lot of decks, which kind of leads us to one of the other cards on this list. However, in the OCG, Dragoon got, I think, 2, maybe even 3 reprints. It got a secret rare, if I'm not mistaken, or, and it also got like the prismatic secret rare or like the starlight rare that we have in the TCG. It just makes more sense for Konami to try to reprint this card, make additional money off of it, because it is a very, very sought after card that not a lot of people actually have access to. It's currently sitting almost around that $100 mark at like 85, 90, kind of fluctuates. And then the third reason is that hopefully at the beginning of this upcoming year, we will be getting Battle of Chaos, which has a ton of Dark Magician support. So why would they ban a Dark Magician card for a deck that's getting support? Legacy card, reprint, like all 3 of these things really just line up perfectly.
Yeah, and from a TCG standpoint, Konami really likes to reprint cards before they actually hit them because, again, it's all marketing at the end of the day. They are a business, they want to make money, and why would they not make the opportunity to print this ultra rare, powerful card as something like a secret rare or even potentially a starlight rare in the future? I could see this card getting that kind of treatment.
1000%.
So it just doesn't make sense as a business for them to ban it just because the player base isn't having a good time, because let's be real, how many times has the player base not had a good time and the Konami has just done nothing about it? And it's not because they don't care, but it's because at the end of the day they're a business. If they want to make the card more accessible to the community at some point, they're just going to reprint it. They're not just going to leave Dragoon with 1 printing. It makes no sense. And then there is the fact that it is a Dark Magician card. If they're coming out with Dark Magician support, they're going to want Dark Magician players to want to play the Dark Magician card, because believe it or not, Dragoon is a Dark Magician card.
Literally. It's Dark Magician wearing red eyes.
It's literally Dark Magician cosplaying. So while Dragoon is a big fat walking annoyance for literally everybody in this game right now, I don't think it's going to get banned right now because Konami hasn't taken the chance to capitalize it on much as they possibly could.
And our last note on Dragoon real fast is just like, you know, yesterday we got the actual Mega Tin announcement and the releases. We are getting Triple Tactics reprint. There's going to be Forbidden Droplets in the next set. So like, we are going to have a bunch of reprinted cards that allow us to deal with Dragoon. We already have a ton of Kaijus. We already have Dark Ruler No More and a couple different printings. Like,
Super Poly.
There's a ton of different printings of cards now, and even more coming that can help you out this card. So even though it's still kind of a problematic card, hopefully it'll be a little bit less problematic moving forward.
Also, shout out to no access code. Mom was right. So since there's a very high chance that Dragoon himself is probably not getting hit, I guess we can move on into the second card of contention, which is Red Eyes Fusion, the spell itself.
So I've actually been Team Red Eyes Fusion for a very, very long time. However, like kind of flushing out our thoughts and just, you know, getting even more in depth in talking about certain things and, you know, everything that we're talking about in this video. Even though I think Red Eyes Fusion is a good hit, I don't know if it's actually the problem card.
Yeah.
Red Eyes Fusion is one of those cards that actually has like some really good balancing to it, because the turn that you activate, like hard activate Red Eyes Fusion, you can't really summon anything else that turn.
Yeah.
So if you are trying to play the Dragoon package in like, you know, most control decks like Eldritch or Guru, stuff like that, you're playing like 3 Red Eyes Insight, 3 Red Eyes Fusion, the Red Eyes Wyvern, Red Eyes Black Dragon.
We
like,
built Brick City.
yeah, and like on top of that, all those cards can be ashed, whereas like Verte, you know, other stuff like that.
And
you know,
Ash of Verte.
yeah, and I know there's other arguments like you get Imperm Valor. We'll get there. Trust me, we will get there. But like when it comes to Red Eyes Fusion, if we do wind up just getting rid of Verte, you're forced to play 9 cards just to make Dragoon, and when you do, it's the only card on your field that's a monster or that's like, you know, a relevant Omni negate.
Yeah, honestly, and we've said this in other videos, I don't mind if my opponent like hard activates Red Eyes Fusion, they're playing a control deck, because like I can A, Ash hit B, alright, so I just have to deal with a Dragoon, a negate, and whatever else they set up. It's usually not that awful to get over. However, when my opponent combos off for 10 minutes and then 2 monsters on board and makes Verte and puts a Dragoon on board, that's when it gets really tilted.
Yeah, it's
so,
oppressive.
Like, I feel like Dragoon was actually a really good buff for certain rogue decks, because a lot of rogue decks like kind of need a win condition that's like better than their in archetype win condition. So this was actually a really good buff for them, because you know what, it forces you to A, play bricks, B, end on only a Dragoon, and I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Is the card annoying? Yes, but it's way less annoying when it's the only thing you have to deal with.
And then like the other thing too when it comes to like the control decks that we were talking about that are forced to play like these 9 cards just to get Dragoon, is annoying as they are and as frustrating as like, you know, a Dragoon with like some floodgates and stuff like that are, like, realistically, being super honest, at least in our opinion, once again, we could be wrong, so feel free to let us know in the comment section down below. But like, these decks aren't seeing a ton of play. Like, maybe there's one Guru player at your locals, or maybe there's like one Guru player in like top 64. You don't see like top 8, 7 of them are Guru control. Like, that's just not how it plays. That's not how it pans out.
You don't see Dragoon control topping every event. It's just not happening, and I think that's fine. It's okay.
And realistically, when it comes to deck building, you should have outs to certain cards like that, whether it's, you know, spell trap removal or monster removal or stuff like that in your side deck. So if you are deck building and side decking properly, these cards in these decks shouldn't really be that big of an issue.
Yeah, this comes down to like a deck building sort of problem that we have, and I feel like if you aren't playing cards that are non-targeting outs to a card, you should probably put some in there anyway, because there are a lot of cards in the game right now that can't be targeted and can't be destroyed. Like, you should just be playing these cards anyway. I'm not saying you have to be playing 10 of them, but like, you should at least be thinking about
something,
it. So yeah, Red Ice Fusion, not worth it.
You can't blame a card for being unfair or super broken, which even if they are, if you're not prepared for it. If you showed up unprepared, it's not the card's fault. It actually does kind of fall on the player base sometimes.
Yeah, like, you know Dragoon is being played. You should have full expectation that somebody at your locals or at whatever event you're playing in is going to play Dragoon. Better be safe than sorry. Don't assume that just no one's gonna play it because you don't like the card. That's the opposite of how Yu-Gi-Oh works. So with all that being said and out of the way, now we're gonna move into what we actually think should be hit on this list. And we've kind of teetered back and forth, but it's gotten to a point where I hate this card. And it's Predaplant Verte Anaconda. I don't even know why it's called a Predaplant card, because it literally does nothing for Predaplant players.
So the reason that Predaplant is honestly one of the cards that we think is one of the big issues in the format is, you know, at least for me personally, like Logan said earlier, when you have a combo decks going and playing all these different things, like, you know, for instance, I've been playing Drytron lately. They have Alpha, Zeta, Alpha Tribute, Zeta gets you a Ben 10 and then Ben 10 Tributes, and like, if they're not taking those 2 monsters on the field and making a Verte, they're taking those 2 monsters and they're making like a Fafnir. If you imperm that, that's correct, and then like, you know, you get the hand trap that you have, like say you have like a Veiler or something, and then you stop the Diviner, that's right, you literally ended the turn. But you played perfectly and you stopped the right things, but because they have access to 2 bodies on the board, all they do is just make Verte and still put up an incredibly powerful card. Like, it almost feels unfair that you played well, you played perfectly, and you stopped the right things in a lot of combo decks, and they just make Dragoon regardless.
Yeah, the problem is that Verte has become a punishment card.
Yeah.
It's not Dragoon itself, it's not you as a player not doing the correct plays. It's literally the fact that Verte is a crutch for decks to lean on, specifically meta combo decks that really struggle when their entire deck gets hand trapped all the time. And they're like, oh, well, I can just put 2 bodies on board, easy peasy. They're effect monsters, boom, I'm gonna make Verte and pay 2 and still put a big body on board.
Yeah, and a lot of like, you know, I feel like a lot of people are gonna say in the comment section, oh, just imperm the Verte or just Veiler the Verte. Typically, they're not making Verte as the first thing. The goal of combo decks is to play combo, and then Verte is the follow-up. Once they've gotten all the hand traps out of your hand, once you've used that Ash, that Imperm, that Veiler, whatever, then they make Verte, and as Logan said, it's a punishment card. You played well, you played perfectly, you stopped the right things. Wow, here's my extenders, here's a Verte.
Yeah, so it's one thing to just say, oh, impermanent, but like the point is the combo player is trying to run you out of those resources, so then you A, have no hand because you just wasted it all, and then B, now you have to get over a Dragoon.
Yeah.
Like, that's the point. So like, yes, you can 100%, you know, imperm the Verte, but the whole problem is you don't have it at that point.
Yeah, and I think Verte is honestly one of those big problematic cards, not only because it makes Dragoon in almost every single deck, but because in every single deck, it's just one of those crutches. It's one of those, like, you know, I played okay, I ran out of cards, or I ran out of options. Just kidding, I still have an option. It's in my extra deck. It's just 2 effect monsters.
Card.
Like, it's just wild.
Yeah.
And then if you do get rid of a card like Verte and you keep the Red Ice Fusion and the Dragoon, you still allow the Dragoon package to be played, but you have to commit more to it. It actually does change the way deck building is, you know, gone about, and it also changes the way that you play through your combo. It changes the way that your opponent interacts with you, or like your opponent can actually feel safe to interact with you, because even if they hand trap you 3 times, you're still not gonna end on this crazy card. You maybe just end on a suboptimal board.
Yeah.
It's like hand traps worked.
If they ban ban Verte, then most people probably just won't even bother playing the Dragoon package, because then what? You have to hard make Dragoon?
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to do that. Literally nobody wants to. No combo player wants to do that, because then you can't combo. Not only that, but let's say we ban Dragoon, or we ban Red Eyes Fusion, or we ban any of the other 2 cards we just talked about. Guess what?
This
in the
is the fun
set that
part.
releases in literally a month from now, we're getting another Dragoon. And that
Basically.
card's gonna suck twice as much. So you know what? If you ban the other 2 cards or whatever, we're still gonna have another broken fusion that's coming into the game in a month. So then you're just gonna have to deal with that. Then you're gonna complain that that's a problem card and not Verte for some reason. And then you're gonna be like, ban Phoenix Enforcer. No. Ban the card that gives you the freest access to it.
And a lot of people are going to try to probably make the argument, and we've had this conversation a lot, and we agree and disagree on certain points. Like, Phoenix Enforcer is a lot more fair, maybe the word. However, it gets you additional extenders in your graveyard, because you can send something like a Malicious, and you can send the brand new Destiny Hero Denier, which allows you to like recur Malicious, so you get like 3 extenders, and it pops a card, it comes back, it brings itself back.
Ridiculous.
Like, it's like a reoccurring interruption every single turn while giving you immense follow-up.
Oh, and even if you banish it, it doesn't matter, because Denier can just put it back. So don't even try being like, oh, just DD Crow it. That doesn't work.
It doesn't work. And there's just like, I think it's a really strong card. It also, like, even though it can be targeted and it can be destroyed, it kind of gets its effect when it's destroyed. It destroys itself. Like,
He's just coming back for more.
a lot of people are probably having the argument, you know, like in the comments now, or just like in general with all their friends, which we are as well, that it's a good card, but it's a little bit more balanced. However, a lot of people said that about Dragoon until Metadeck started playing it. It's more the fact that it's not the one card, it's the one card that follows the 17 other cards that were played prior. If you can still end on an Appaloosa for 3, maybe a couple Fog Blades, maybe another Negate, maybe a couple cards in hand plus a hand trap or 2, and then this card as well, it's not the one card that's the problem, it's the culmination. And Verte really is that like conduit that just gets you there.
And the problem is, if we don't ban Verte, we're just going to keep getting more busted cards to make with Verte.
Yeah.
So, like, it really just comes down to Verte makes it too accessible to get to these cards. And it's like, yeah, sure, that's a hero card, Phoenix Enforcer. Dragoon is a freaking Dark Magician card. But, like, they're not gonna hit those cards because those are 2 archetypes that are, like, holy ground in Yu-Gi-Oh! So, like, and Phoenix Enforcer isn't even out yet. And the only problem is with the whole idea of banning Verte, which makes me very scared and nervous, is they're gonna want people to play Phoenix Enforcer. They're going to want as many people to play it as possible. It's going to be a high rarity card, I'm willing to bet. So they're gonna want everyone to play it, therefore everyone's gonna need access to it, which is through Verte. So I feel like they're gonna, like, keep Verte around, which feels really, really bad.
Yeah.
But
We're just
then-
trying to make the argument that Verte is the actual problem.
Yeah, Verte's awful. Verte is ridiculous. Verte literally says pay 2,000 and literally win the game. It is absolutely ridiculous.
And not to mention too, this is probably just a little irrelevant, but we did get the actual release of the Megatons and the list, and Verte Anaconda is not in there.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't say that they're gonna ban it, but to not have a ton of these powerhouse cards being reprinted and a ton of them actually being reprinted, I think it's safe to say that the ones that are getting reprinted are, you know, ban list free, and the ones that didn't get reprinted, you know, could potentially have a higher target on their back.
My big takeaway from this is not that, like, oh, they're going to ban Verte, because we don't know. I don't know. Do you know? But my real big, like, scary factor here is that they're just not going to hit any of it. They're not going to hit Dragoon. They're not going to hit Red Eyes Fusion. They're not going to hit Verte, because they're going to want to use this whole new Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer guy, which means they're going to keep Verte. Dragoon's not worth hitting because whatever. It's just Dragoon. Red Eyes Fusion, that would really hurt the poor Red Eyes players. Like, why are we doing that to them? It doesn't seem like there's a worthy hit that will make sense for the future of the game right now. I'm not saying Dragoon will never get hit, but I don't think it's going to happen right now. And because of that, I don't think Verte's going to get hit. And because of that, Red Eyes Fusion's not going to get hit. So I'm kind of just talking in circles. And I don't know if you guys have had the same problem, but let me know if you have.
It's a very difficult conversation to have, but like one of the other justifications that we've kind of used, at least for us, you know, once again, let us know in the comment section down below, but when it comes to the ban list, a lot of people want to see cards like Alistair or Meltdown go to 1, or, you know, like some of these other fusion-based things that people think are kind of unfair. If you hit and you actually ban Verte, this is like an indirect hit to those decks. It's also an indirect hit to Thunder Dragons, which we strongly believe Thunder Dragon Colossus can and may actually come off this list.
If they hit Verte, that means Colossus can come to 1 a lot easier because then you can't like send Thunder Dragon Fusion and do shenanigans with that. So like honestly, I think hitting Verte is the healthiest thing they could do because then it stops anyone from being able to just plop 2 monsters on board and basically send whatever they want to make it convenient for them. Like Verte is just a ridiculously broken card. I honestly, the more I see it played, the more I'm like, how in God's name did this card ever get created? Like yeah, Dragoon's super annoying, but like Verte just makes everything annoying.
Yeah.
And I only feel like Dragoon is as annoying as it is and everyone hates it so much because they see it so much because everyone just plays Verte in their decks. I don't even think it's Dragoon's fault at this point, which feels so weird that I'm like defending Dragoon.
Yeah.
But like if there was no Verte, there would be far less Dragoon.
And like how many times have you played against somebody and they've just like hard activated the 1 copy of Red Eyes Fusion that they drew because they know that Dragoon's an auto win. If there's no Verte, a lot of people are not going to be playing that 1 Red Eyes Fusion in their deck. So like you get rid of that small percentage of like, you know, other win conditions as well. Now you're forcing them to play those 9 cards just to make 1 and they can't combo for the rest of the turn.
I used to be playing the Dragoon package in Paleo and I dropped it because I was so sick of playing bricks and garbage. And I'm like,
open Red Eyes.
I'll just play better traps. Like even in control decks, we're like, oh, this card kind of sucks. So like, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. We want to hear your opinions. This is not like our hard and fast. Like our thoughts have been changing for weeks now. So like, just so you know, we're with you. I want Verte banned, but I'm open to ideas. So let us know in the comments what you guys think will happen. If anything, I'm kind of scared nothing's gonna happen.
Me too.
But that's all we got for today for you guys. Make sure you come back tomorrow for Breakfast and Banlist, where we actually break down all of our thoughts for what we think will be happening on the ban list. So make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell. And make sure in the comment section down below, you let us know who you think should be voted off the island. Red Eyes Fusion, Dark Dragoon, or Predaplant, Verte, Anaconda. Let us know. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. We love you, you matter, and we will see you guys tomorrow for more Banlist shenanigans. Bye!